The night was supposed to be just another glamorous evening in Beijing. But when XuKai stepped out of a black SUV under the flashes of paparazzi cameras, no one knew the storm that was about to break. What really happened inside that luxury hotel? Tonight, we uncover the truth. Outside the luxury hotel, cameras captured only a glimpse, a shadowed figure, a rushed step, a man trying to stay invisible in a world that refuses to look away. But what was XuKai hiding? And why here, why now? A dimly lit hallway. The sound of footsteps echoing off golden walls. Each step a secret, each shadow a witness. Behind these closed doors, the first thread of a scandal was being woven. While XuKai vanished into the suite, his phone lit up with unanswered messages. Who was desperately reaching out to him? A friend, or a lover? Or someone trying to stop what was already in motion? Inside the suite, silence weighed heavier than the champagne bottle on the table. Only one glass poured, untouched. Curtains drawn halfway, as if the night itself was peeking in on a secret about to explode. Downstairs, whispers floated through the lobby. A woman in dark glasses, nervously glancing around. Was this a coincidence? Or had she been waiting, all along? Hours later, tears stained the face of someone who could no longer hide the truth. A suitcase packed, a decision made. But leaving isn't always the end. Sometimes, it's only the beginning of betrayal. On the desk, a love letter lay crumpled, the ink smeared by tears. Words meant to be private were now evidence. And in scandals like these, paper cuts run deeper than knives. Outside, the street came alive with flashes. Photographers caught blurred silhouettes, shapes of people who didn't want to be seen. In the shadows of every flash, the scandal grew larger. A luxury car waited in a back alley, tinted windows shielding secrets. But even the darkest glass couldn't hide the reflection of neon lights, nor the suspicion burning behind them. Somewhere else, a woman broke down in a backstage dressing room. The makeup on the table, untouched. The laughter outside muffled by walls. Inside, heartbreak was loud enough to shatter a career. At a private restaurant booth, voices rose in anger. Wine glasses remained untouched, words spilled instead. Love had turned into accusation. Accusation into betrayal. At the after-party, glittering lights tried to hide the tension. Behind forced smiles and fake laughter, glances told another story. Everyone saw, but no one dared to speak. On a cold marble countertop, a phone buzzed endlessly. Missed calls piled up like unanswered questions. Sometimes the silence of not picking up is louder than words. In the recording studio, loneliness echoed louder than the music. The lights of the soundboard blinked, waiting for a voice that never came. For XuKai, silence was both escape and prison. Sheets twisted, curtains blowing, moonlight sneaking in. The room looked like a battlefield. And maybe that's what it was, not of fists and weapons, but of hearts and choices. Two figures met under autumn trees. Their voices low, but heavy with pain. Promises broken, futures uncertain. Sometimes, a park bench becomes the courtroom of the heart. Far from the glitz, a neon motel sign glowed through the rain. A man stood beneath it, head down, drowning in his own shadows. It was no longer about fame, it was survival. On a desk, a photograph lay torn. Once a memory of love, now a symbol of betrayal. Shredded not just by hands, but by choices that couldn't be undone. At a gala, laughter filled the air. Cameras flashed, toasts were made. But at one glittering table, a single chair sat empty. Absence speaks louder than applause. On a private beach, two figures walked apart, the sun setting between them. The waves didn't care who was guilty, who was innocent. But the world watching, did. Back inside the studio, an award trophy caught the spotlight. A reminder of fame, success, applause. But what is glory worth, if your name is whispered only in scandals? A woman stared at the city through glass. The reflection staring back wasn't hers anymore. Fame had changed her face, scandal had changed her soul. The ocean was calm, the yacht gliding under moonlight. But on the deck, a lone figure leaned on the railing, restless waves below mirroring the storm inside. Finally, the press gathered. Cameras ready, microphones waiting. But the podium stood empty. XuKai never appeared. And perhaps, silence was the loudest statement of all. The hotel scandal wasn't just about XuKai. It was about power, love, betrayal, and the cost of secrets in a world where nothing stays hidden. What happened behind those doors may never be fully known. But one thing is certain, scandals don't end when the cameras stop flashing, they only grow. If you want to uncover more untold truths, more stories Hollywood doesn't want you to hear, make sure to subscribe, because the next revelation will shock you even more. Asterisk.